What if every single person on Earth dove into the ocean and began swimming together in one giant circle? As kids, we all made whirlpools by running in circles in our little kiddie pool. Now imagine 8 billion people slicing through the ocean. Would it create the largest whirlpool in history? To picture it, we first need to see how much of the ocean we'd actually fill. The Earth's oceans cover about 361 million square kilometers, nearly 71% of the planet's surface. If everyone stood shoulder to shoulder, arm's length apart, humanity would occupy a circle only about 130 kilometers across. However, if everyone tried to form a single circle perimeter, the circle's diameter would be over 2.5 million kilometers. That's more than 6 times the distance to the moon. To fit that massive circle into a synchronized circular formation 1 kilometer thick, you'd need roughly 1,000 concentric circles. The average circumference for each loop would be 8,000 kilometers. This would give the circle a diameter of nearly 2,500 kilometers, smaller than the width of Australia, which stretches about 4,000 kilometers from east to west. Now imagine everyone began swimming in this formation, perfectly synchronized. Could 8 billion swimmers actually create a whirlpool? A strong swimmer might sustain around 160 to 200 watts of power. Multiply that by the population, and we'd reach roughly 1.28 terawatts of total human energy. Though, that's assuming that all 8 billion of us are Olympic-level swimmers, which we're definitely not. For comparison, a single hurricane can unleash over 200 terawatts, about 160 times our collective effort. The ocean's 1.35 times 10 to the 18th power tons of water wouldn't even notice us. But hey, all that effort would burn a staggering number of calories. Swimming at high intensity typically burns 500 to 700 kilocalories per hour. If everyone swam for 1 hour, that's roughly 4 trillion kilocalories at the very least. To put that staggering number in perspective, since a Big Mac has around 550 kilocalories, this means humanity's combined workout would equal roughly 1.3 billion Big Macs burned away. And then there's the noise produced when 8 billion people suddenly take a splash together. A single swimmer's splash might register 80 to 90 decibels underwater, comparable to dense boat traffic. Because sound intensity doubles with every 3 dB increase, adding more sources doesn't linearly multiply loudness, it adds logarithmically. If we start from 80 dB for one swimmer, then that means in an ideal world where all splashes occurred in perfect sync, the total level could theoretically reach around 179 dB underwater, similar to a rocket launch. In reality, destructive interference, distance, and absorption would scatter that sound. But still, before anyone even drowns, we'd probably get some serious hearing damage from the splashing. So if we don't exactly create a giant whirlpool, what actually happens? Within minutes, swimmers would collide, tire, and panic. Most people can't tread water beyond a few minutes. The circle would collapse into chaos. And since there's no land, this becomes the largest synchronized drowning in history. And if all the human race drowned in one day, civilization ends. Within hours, power plants would shut down without operators. Days later, supply chains would collapse, food would spoil, and cities would darken. As weeks turned into months, nature would begin to reclaim our empty streets and silent cities. In a few short years, vines would crawl through shattered windows, rivers would breach their banks, and wildlife could roam through abandoned neighborhoods. Centuries later, skyscrapers would crumble, satellites would fall, and forests would blanket what once was civilization. So, what if everyone on Earth started swimming in a circle? We wouldn't create a crazy whirlpool, but we would create the loudest, splashiest, shortest-lived mass workout in history, followed by the complete collapse of civilization and a planet slowly wiping away the memory that we were ever here.